Hey guys, Oscar from GoPrimate here, and in this video I'll share with you one of the best bodyweight hamstring exercises, Nordic curls. You probably heard about Nordic curls before. It's a very well-known exercise, very often used by athletes to prevent hamstring injuries. It's also very good for building pure strength in hamstrings, and also you can use to build muscle as well. Now in this video I'll share with you a few different variations that you can do Nordic curls in, and also share with you how you can effectively do Nordic curls from home or outdoors. For the Nordic curls, you will also need a pair of knee pads or something else that you can put underneath your knees to soften it, such as a towel that you fold to make it a little bit nicer for your knees. So when doing Nordic curls, you're going to be having your heels underneath something very sturdy. The basic way to do them is to do them eccentrically. Now, if you do Nordic curls eccentrically, you're going to be slowing your movement on the way down. So basically, you just want to put the brakes on and slow down you fall towards the ground. And I recommend always having your hands ready to catch you when you fall down. And the ideal technique here is to keep your hips straight. So we're gonna lock your glutes and tuck your hips in underneath. But once you get tired, you're gonna notice it's going to be hard to keep this technique so clean the whole time. So if your hips bend a little bit, I wouldn't say it's the whole world, to be honest, because it's gonna happen eventually a little bit. But you know, the ideal technique is to keep your hips completely straight. Now you can also do Nordic curls with the concentric phase. That means that on the way down, you're going to be helping yourself up with a slight push-up. Use the push-up as little as possible, and instead pull with your hamstring as much as you can. And again, you pull with the hamstrings by pushing your heels against that surface that you're pushing against. So when you're doing the concentric Nordic curl, you want to always keep pushing your heels against that surface. So always keep tension in the hamstrings, even when you're completely down. And when you push up, always keep pulling with the hamstrings. That's a really good way to also build hypertrophy in the hamstrings. And there's a few different Nordic curl variations you can also do. The first one's going to be Bent Hip Nordic Curls. Now for this, the key points to keep in mind here is to simply bend forward from your hips. So bend with your upper body. When you're down and you're about to come up, simply squeeze your glutes and extend your whole body. You can make this harder by leaning forward even more, and you can make it easier by your hips backwards more. Ideally, you want to keep your hips on the same position and simply only bend with your upper body, but it's okay if your hips are moving back a little bit. In the ideal situation, your hips stay in the same position, but in the realistic situation, your hips are probably going to be moving back a little bit as you fall forward with your upper body. One more thing again regarding the Bent Hip Nordic Curl is that be careful not leaning forward too much, because you might actually get a cramping feeling when doing these quite easily. But just find the good sweet spot that works for your strength levels at the moment. So I would recommend that you don't start with this exercise. Do them when your hamstrings are already a little bit warm, just for safety reasons. Exercise number 2 is going to be, I just call it Nordic Hip-Thrust. It's very similar to the previous one, so the Bent Hip Nordic Curls, but it's just a little bit different. Here you're going to be leaning forward and you're going to be pushing your hips back and forward, back and forward. So it looks similar to the previous one, but here we're actively pushing the hips back and forward. So we're not trying to stay still, we really push the hips back and forward quite a lot. And again, squeeze the glutes when we extend our body. And again, if you lean forward more, it's going to be harder. If you stay more upright, it's going to be a little bit easier. So these are 2 variations you can do to really feel those hamstrings working. And it's also good for hypertrophy, these ones. The eccentric ones are good for strength, also maybe a little bit hypertrophy, but I would say these 2 variations are better if you're trying to go mass in your hamstrings. Now, a very good equipment to have in your training bag to increase your ability to do Nordic curls in different areas or locations is a simple strap like this. I bought this for €2 from a normal hardware store. This is 2 meters long. Looks like this. Very basic, you probably see them around. And the best way to do Nordic curls, in my opinion, is to attach this underneath a bench. So it could be a park bench, or if you have a similar bench at home, and then strap it around the bench and put your heels underneath it and pull as tight as you can, and boom, you're ready to do Nordic curls just like that. You can also do Nordic curls by having a partner place their hands on your ankles and put their own body weight on your ankles, and that way you can do Nordic curls as well. But my favorite way is actually using this strap, because you can do it alone. All you need is a bench and you're good to go. There's one more way that you can do Nordic curls from home. It's the one I would recommend the least, but it's still a good option if that's the only option you have available. And that's by attaching this to a door. So basically you're going to be creating a loop with this band, put a towel on one side of the band, you're gonna slide this underneath the door, close the door, and then on the other side, you know, you're gonna have this attachment side. Okay, so you want to make sure that this attachment pointing, or the thing where you tighten it with, is going to be slightly on the side. So I think it can be either right or left side, doesn't probably matter. But you don't want it to be in the middle, but you want it to be at starting point a little bit on the side. And then you just close the door, you step into the loop, and you put it around both ankles like that. Same for the other side. Go really close to the door, feet close to each other, and now you just tighten it as much as you can. Yeah, then it's ready. Now, this is not the way I would recommend you to do it, but if this is the only option you have, then that's better than nothing. So something you can try. But the first place I will go to do this is by strapping this around a bench, a park bench or something like that. And that's my preferred way to do Nordic curls. And that's all I'll share with you this time, guys. If you like the video, please give the video a like, it's highly appreciated. And subscribe to the channel for more training tips on how to get hits from home or outdoors. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.